If you watch this video to the end, you're going to be able to know way more about your target audience, your ICP, and the segments you can reach out to, and also how to use that to shape your content, your outbound, and your general lead generation and nurturing. My name is Harald. I've been working with helping consulting companies, SaaS companies, tech companies grow using digital strategies for the past 15 years. And what I'm about to share with you is the prompt that we use to help any company take their product and service, break that out into a set and segments of ICPs and target audiences that they can reach out to, with both a profile on their on those companies that you're trying to reach out to and our ideal clients, and the key decision makers within those companies. But then also give you a depth to who they are, what they're interested in, what their pains are, what's making them stay up at night, what the risk profiles are, the internal stakeholders, and all of these different things, so that you can get to know your audience at a way deeper level than what you already do. So let's dive into it. So on my screen right now, I'm going to take you through briefly how to use this. And I'm going to give you a bit of an output sample so that you can see what it actually gives you, because you are going to get incredible depth. So to start off with, obviously down below on this page, you will have the prompt. Within the prompt, you're going to have this user input section. That is something that you need to fill out. So if you were to look at my screen right now, you have this user input section, and you have the what do you sell, what's your USP and differentiator, what outcome does it actually deliver, and who have you sold this to so far, and who do you think the buyer is. So if you have a thesis, you can add that in. I've added that, and I've also added the general description of the clients that we've sold in the past, because for us, the engine and marketing infrastructure that we build, which allows you to build trust systematically, skip the spray and pray, and ensure that you reach out when the market is ready, so you get your timing right and not, let's say, end up just bugging people, which 90% of marketing tactics does. I've written those down. So really what you want to do is that you want to answer those. And the prompt is long. And this is where you might see our prompts be a bit different from what everyone else talks about, because we have a really specific way of breaking down a prompt to actually make it do what we want it to do. So you're going to see an execution framework section. You are going to see the phases that is to go through in its internal reasoning, and then how it creates your ICP profiles. So it's going to give you several segments, and that could be 2, it could be 3, it could be 4. It depends. But it's going to give you a thesis for each of them. It's going to give you a company profile for each of the segments, with things like industry, niche, and subvertical, the company stage, the headcount range, the revenue range, the geo, the business model indicators, the technology and tool stack signals, the growth stacks, and the growth signals. You're going to get the decision maker profiles on the role and title, seniority, tenure, the age range, the gender and demographic, education and professional background, their daily reality, like what do they experience on a daily basis, the psychological profile, their buying behavior, and the content consumption, which all gets you more context about who your actual target audience is and how you can shape your outbound, shape your content, shape your marketing in general, so that you get in there, you bypass their defenses in the sense of you're not fighting hard against hard. You're also going to get secondary stakeholders. You're going to get the pain and urgency profile. You're going to get the segment score. You're going to get a couple of other things, and also the cross-segment analysis. So if you analyze the different segments that you get, you're going to be able to then see which ones you actually focus on. And there's some recommendations, a mapping report, and all of these things will then help you shape things. So to go into one of these, so here you have a one sample, and you see that it identified 5 key segments. And one thing that it goes into is it deconstructs the offer in terms of, okay, what's the core thing that it actually does. It's in addressing the growth ceiling of a company. It's addressing the revenue leakage of actually, and this is what we do. Like most companies focus on generating leads and converting them right now. But only 1 to 5% of your market is ready now. The rest is not even in a research or buying window. So why are you spraying and praying and hoping to actually convert them? What typically ends up happening is that you're either pushing people way too early into a call, or you don't really have a system to follow up. So people, let's say, forget that you even exist. What we do is that we basically come in there and we build an engine to ensure that every lead you generate in either outbound or inbound are nurtured properly over time, so that you have a way to build the trust and also be familiar, or for them to be familiar with your brand when they enter a buying window, so that you over time in the next 12 to 18 months are able to convert a way higher rate than just the 1 to 5% that are already now. So that's the key thing, and that's why what we do address the revenue leakage. And then you have the operational inefficiency in terms of people spend a lot of time on marketing. And the engine, the system that we built, the approach, the methodology that we built over the past decade plus is built to almost be a set it and forget it. Like, you have your lead generation elements and tactics and systems, plug that into the infrastructure that we built that nurtures and build the trust and ensure timing is right, and save a lot of time. Like, save the operational time it takes to create and do all these marketing tactics, because you don't need to chase the rabbit every single day. Now, it also gives us a bit of urgency triggers. Like condition A, the referral well is drying up, because a lot of companies that, especially that we work with, they have one of their main channels of generating leads is the referrals. Referrals are amazing, but it's finite. It's not scalable, but it's usually the bedrock that you stand on to growing the company. Another one is the active lead flow, that basically has a bit of elements to it. Like, if you have one, if you don't have one, but where do they go? The conversion rates usually through content is lower because it's a educational phase and a research phase, not necessarily I'm ready right now, that's why I'm engaging with content. And a lot of people think that. So there's a couple of elements you need to do with those that you actually have consuming content, to have the depth to screen out those that are just the happy clickers and just poking around. You have tactic fatigue. So basically, a lot of companies, they just churn and burn different tactics. They try new things every month. You have the shiny objects. People talk about AI. They talk about how you can do new things, how you can automate everything. But usually, if you don't have a foundational structure, nothing will really work or give you longevity or sustainable approach to this. You need to have a solid infrastructure that allows you to gather the data, reach out to people, have a way to nurture them, and then you can build AI on top of that. But you need to have that bedrock. And then also, a lot of companies that we speak to, they have a sales team without pipeline infrastructure. So they chase. They hope timing is right. They try to reach out. They use tools like Clay. They use signals to try to reach out at the right appropriate time, but they usually end up guessing. So what we then have here is it goes through the decision authority, the displacement threat in terms of, okay, how is what we do possible to, let's say, replace, and timeline. And then it goes into ICPs. So the first segment it had here was the referral dependent boutique B2B professional services firm. So basically any sort of B2B company that is at the boutique level. So they work with a handful or a smaller segment of clients, and they're really doing a consultative service. So here we have the company profile, the industry, the niche, the company stage, the headcount range, the revenue range, the geo, business model, tech stack, the growth signals, all these things. The decision maker in terms of founder, managing partner, managing director, CEO, principal consultant, and partner. So this gives me the beautiful thing with the decision maker profile is that I can take this and plug it directly into LinkedIn and then run the extract of those and run that against our actual ICP to see the leads that, or the prospects and profiles we're able to find, how well of a match are they to this particular profile and segment. And we can actually map them against all of the 5 that we actually got here. So there's plenty of things to do to clean the lists, ensure that you have the appropriate prospects, and to really maximize the output that you're going to be able to get. There's so many different things you can actually do here that people rarely talk about. Daily reality, the psychological profile, and the interesting thing here is that this and the buying behavior If you feed that to AI to help you and shape and align your content and outbound, it's going to make it everything way easier. And this just goes on and goes on and goes on. And then you will have ICP number 2, which is a founder-led B2B SaaS at growth inflection. Like they want to take the next step, but they haven't been able to do that because they're lacking the infrastructure to do so. And this just goes on. Like we can go into this at a way deeper level. And then we have the third segment, B2B tech companies with an active sales team, but no nurture layer, which is, I would say, this is a super big audience. Like almost every B2B tech company have the sales-led team, but they don't have the marketing. It might be that you watching this is in this segment. And this just goes on. Like, as you guys can see, it gives us a segment after segment after segment after segment, which will help you map out which are the options you have. And you probably will then feel, okay, which ones of these actually align, and where your gut feel tells you that, okay, yeah, this is super relevant. And here, for example, you have the cross-segment analysis. So the ICP 1 to 5, the pain intensity that they're experiencing, the budget that they probably have, the decision speed that they're able to make, and the best channel to actually reach out to them, and the approved timeline, and then the total score. So it gives you an explanation to which segment the prompt and the AI engine recommends you to actually start with. And in this one, it recommended the ICP number 1. And it gave you several reasons why that was on. And it also gives you the secondary ICP priority in terms of this recommended the profile for. So then what you can also do, what it does is that it stress tests the thesis for this, and gives you just a super deep information about how to do that and how to actually approach it. It gives you also opportunity flags in terms of, okay, how could you do it? How could you partner? What are other things that you can do to strengthen this? So this is now, like, I spent 10 minutes going through this, and I haven't really never seen a report as deep as this. And when you plug in your offer and what you do, you're probably going to get this to output things that you didn't know already. It might be that you have a super crystal clear ICP already, which is amazing. But for the sake of it, just run this. It takes you 10 minutes, 15 minutes to do this. And you're going to get something that could align, it could strengthen, it could help you maybe even pivot if you are at a stalling point in your growth. So this could be used in so many different ways. And down below as well, what we also tend to use this for is that this is just the first step of a multi-step sequence. And the next sequence is digging way deeper. So we have the initial profile with all of the details. What you then can do is that you can take that and really dig deep into what do these people actually talk about online, so that you have an even deeper profile on your RCP. And the reason why this is important and why I'm actually emphasizing that you should do this is because if you want to do something at a scale today, content is just getting easier and easier to produce. Outbound is easier and easier to do. Like if you want to send 10,000 emails a day, you can do that. And you have tools and providers that can allow you to do that. But the foundational thing that you need is you need that marketing infrastructure. You need an understanding of your audience. You need the context to give AI proper information to empower AI. Because most companies, when they look at using Claude, Opus, or Sonnet, if they look at using Gemini, ChatGPT, it doesn't really matter what AI they want to use. The one thing that most companies lack or are, let's say, underutilizing is the context that they feed the AI. This prompts give you plenty of contextual information about your audience. If you dig even deeper, you're going to get even more about the offer you have. And that will make everything else of generating content with AI be way more precise, be something that is unique and not just becoming AI slop. And this is one of the things where content should be your foundational pillar, because you as a company need to build a audience. You need to build a system that attracts the audience, nurture that audience, educates them, provide value, and make them be more and more familiar with you by you being visible several places, on email, on LinkedIn, on ads, on Meta, on Instagram, on everywhere. Because when you show up and build familiarity, and if you give value first, people will try to return the favor of the value that you provided them. And over time, what you want to do is that you want to be the go-to player or go-to company within what you do, within the segment and sub-niche that you should then own, rather than just being one of the many vendors that people will evaluate. Because if you are the one that has educated your audience, they're more likely to go to you. Because your audience is already trying to learn things. They're looking online, they're reading up stuff. Are they going to you, or are they going to your competitors? That's a question I think you should ask yourself. And I think we can both agree that we want them to actually come to you, not you go to your competitors. So what I would actually like to invite you to is, how do you use all of this? How do you map all of this? How do you map the strategy? How do you map the infrastructure? That is one of the things that I want to give you as an opportunity now, because you watched this video. Obviously, we want to have you as a client, depending on if you're, let's say, matching the criteria that we have for companies that we work with. But since you showed interest in this and you've stick around for now 16 minutes, I want to give you the opportunity to, let's map out how the entire marketing infrastructure and the bedrock of how you use this ICP matching, how you identify your audience, how you research them, how that shapes your content creation, and how content and educating your audience could be structured in a way where you have a full-on marketing infrastructure to not just generate the leads, but nurture them so that you build trust and ensure that the timing is right when you actually reach out to them. So down below on this page, there is a booking calendar. I highly recommend you to go down there, book that call, so that we together can look at the canvas, look at the whiteboard together, and figure out how we would recommend you to build all of this. How to use the output from this prompt. How to use the output from the second prompt that is linked down below, which is the audience researcher, so that you can actually have a solid plan built on the experience of building marketing systems for more than a decade. So down below, that call is completely free. It doesn't cost you anything. The only thing that we ask is that you add in more information about your company in the booking form, but also the form that shows up afterwards. Because that is going to give us the ability to gauge how is this actually going to work for your company, so that we can do our homework and due diligence. And also to be upfront about that, the method and systems that we have are more appropriate for some companies than others. But I believe we can both agree that trust is an important thing in your sales processes. If people trust you, that makes the entire sales process way easier and more comfortable for the entire company, the sales team, the account executives, everyone that is involved in the sales process are going to agree that, yeah, if people trust us, they know what we do, they believe in it, they feel a sense of reciprocity in terms of returning the favor because they've gotten a lot of value, that is going to work. That is the impact of how we build the marketing infrastructures and strategies. Not short-term things that is going to crash and burn in 3 months, where you're constantly stuck on the hamster wheel trying new things. Something that can last for the next 18 months or more. Because you need to have something that is long-term, which is worthwhile to build because it will actually last. So down below, we would love to speak to you. Find a time in the calendar, and we look forward to speak to you and help you give our recommendations to how you build that map. So I hope this was useful. I hope we get to speak to you, and I wish you a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.